Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the January 30th, 2025 version of our Lunch and Learn. Thanks so much for joining us. And I'm really pleased to have Lane Feingold and Travis Jensen here with Motorola to talk to us about Rave Solutions. This is a special Lunch and Learn that we put together to say thank you to Motorola, who was very generously going to sponsor the NINA APCO chapter's holiday party, but was prevented due to RFP and other reasons. So we're really, really grateful for their support of the chapter, and I'm happy to bring them to this Lunch and Learn to tell us all about Rave Solutions. So I will turn it over to Lane, and thanks very much for being here.
Yeah, thank you very much for having us, Jennifer. Again, my name is Lane Feingold. I'm a Motorola account manager here in Colorado. Again, thank you very much for having us here. Thank you all for being here and taking time out of your day. And also thank you for what you all do for your communities on a day-to-day basis. We are here to talk about Rave, the mobile safety software suite, which is made up of a number of software solutions, and have Travis Jensen here today to talk about those solutions. So I will turn it over to Travis to get started.
All right, thank you, Lane, and thank you everybody with the task force. Really appreciate your time and energy here on the call today. I am Travis Jensen. I am the Rave software suite for the state of Colorado. Rave was acquired by Motorola several years ago, so I'm going to talk a little bit about our entire software suite and how it interacts and engages within the Motorola ecosystem. So first and foremost, like I talked about, integration is a really big deal to Motorola. Understanding all the tools that we offer within the Motorola company. Probably most companies, most agencies on the call are familiar with us as a LMR company, but we've definitely been expanding well beyond that with acquisitions like Rave, which we'll talk about here today. Biggest thing that we're known for is mass notifications, which I'll break down and talk about here shortly. We do video secure and access control, incident management, panic button alerting, and just trying to understand how all the tools can better help the public safety environment. So 5 pieces of software that I'm going to talk about here today. The first one being our Rave Alert platform. This is the foundation of all the other software suites that we offer. This is our mass notification platform. We also offer a addition to Mobile Reach, a tool that we call Mobile Reach is in addition to the Rave Alert platform. It gives you all of the mobile data that we can procure and force opt-in citizens into the Rave Alert platform. An additional feature of Rave Alert we have is called Smart 911. This would be an access and functional needs registry where citizens can go on and upload any type of personal information to communicate that to first responders and PSAPs within the community so that you have additional information on the citizens. Rave Link is a rules-based notification platform that leverages our Rave Alert. This is a CAD-to-CAD or data incident sharing tool where we attach it to any disparate CAD. It doesn't have to be a Motorola CAD. And we can send out mass notifications via calls for service that you enter within your CAD. And then we're also able to give you cross-agency CAD visibility for mutual aid and transparency. AppArmor is a customizable public safety branded app. It just is a way to communicate more effectively with your citizens, and our Rave Alert platform also ties into AppArmor. And then last but not least, we offer a panic button solution. This is primarily seen in the K through 12 environment, but can be utilized in any soft targets such as libraries, courthouses, and more. So this is just a high-level overview of the 5 pieces of software. I'm going to go a little bit further into each one of them. But we also want you to understand that Rave is not just a 911 first responder PSAP piece of technology that we're implementing. We have multiple different solutions that are helping out multiple different organizations within the public safety ecosystem. Obviously, this group is going to be more focused on the first bar there, showing all the tools that we can assist any one of your agencies with. We also have an incredibly strong relationship with the emergency management community, since they're one of the primary users of our mass notification system. We have personal relationships with city, county, state agencies. We talked about those government buildings and soft targets that we're trying to implement. And then K through 12 school districts is obviously a big one. We want school safety to be a primary focus that we're hitting on. So the first piece of software that I'm going to dig a little bit deeper into is the Rave Alert platform. Once again, this is our mass notification platform, Reverse 911. So one of the things that we really pride ourselves in within Rave and within Motorola is just the ease of use in the tool. Once your templates are built, It literally is just 3 clicks to be able to send out a mass notification alert to your citizens. That can be done in a multitude of different modalities. Typically, you're going to see text, email, and voice, but we can expand beyond that with things like RSS feeds, Twitter, X, common alerting protocols, iPods, WIA alerts, Amber alerts, silver alerts, things of that nature, all can be done through this platform. It's not only for external alerting. A lot of agencies use this for their internal communication, and that can be used for any type of information that you want to push out to your employees or other members of the municipality or the county that you work with. We can pre-build any type of alerting templates. So you just select a template. Let's say it's an evacuation or a fire or a road closure, police incident, police presence, anything like that. You would just click on the template that you want and it would populate all the information. You would just need to select the group that it's going out to. We do have the ability to send this out via mobile-friendly interfaces and websites. So this can be sent via your phone, via a tablet, from home. It doesn't have to be done from a desktop at your work. We can geofence any type of specific area within your local jurisdiction, add and omit pieces of information or targets that you would want to select or non-select, and then you can set out a mass notification via geography so you're not sending it out to the entirety of your city. Language translation, using the Microsoft translation service, we can translate English to over 60 different languages. So if you have a large community of non-English speaking citizens in a concentrated area, we can translate that message out so they're also informed about any type of public safety issue that they need to know about. Scalable training, we offer multiple different training modalities. We have an academy that we can sign any employee up for, administrative training. This can be on-site, it can be online. Administrative privileges, there would probably be one or a multitude of super users, and then they can set up any type of administrative functions that go along with the tool. And then we can automate via weather alerting, anything that you would need to know if there was extreme weather conditions that were going on in your jurisdiction. We also have an access and functional needs registry, which I'll talk a little bit more about, but I'll hit on this page. Gives you the ability to have additional information on the citizens within your local jurisdiction. We can do dynamic polling. So for example, if you had overtime that you wanted to send out internally, you could set it up so that you're polling your employees. They would click 1 if they're available or 2 if they're not. And then that would give you additional information on anybody that needs to take that overtime shift. We also offer conference bridging. If you want to open up communication with a citizen and the PSAP or Emergency Management Center, that's also something that can be done. We have a desktop notifier tool, so we can plug this into all of the desktops within your jurisdiction. If there was some type of alert that was sent out, it would take over the desktop and put a banner of an alert. You can see in the background, this employee is working on an Excel spreadsheet and a mass notification was sent out for a tornado warning. So that pop-up is going to come over any other application that's being used on the desktop, and it will notify your internal staff that there is some type of an issue that they need to focus on and be aware of. And then we also have an additional tool called Collaborate, which is a piece of this. This gives access to kind of a FEMA ICS-based task reporting tool. You can schedule and ask for additional resources, have them assigned to the incident that you're working, and give them additional information or assignments as to where they need to deploy or what types of additional tools they may need for that product. The Access and Functional Needs Registry, to dig a little bit deeper, is called Smart 911. You can see here the different tiers of information that you can get from your community. Obviously, if we're just getting a 911 call, we're getting any and alley information. A landline call would come with additional name and address information. But with Smart 911, a citizen can proactively upload any information that they want. It's pretty flexible. Some examples of this would be if they had a medical condition. Let's say they weren't able to walk and there was an evacuation notice. They might need additional assistance from first responders. We would want them to be aware of that and be able to come on, have that information readily available, and then you can help them accordingly. Any types of medications that they're on, if they're having a medical issue, we wouldn't want them to overdose by giving them something they're not supposed to have, allergies to medications. And then it gets down to the very granular of if there's pets in the house or vehicles in front of the residence. Any information that they would want to give proactively to the PSAP they can do that, and then would give your agency additional information if there was an incident. Here's just some examples of what the dashboard looks like. It does also have a mobile web application. Private secure website, creating that safety profile, it's free, it's included within the platform. Registration is very simple. We try to make everything that we do very easy, ease of use. Functionality takes less than 5 minutes to schedule a profile. You can add any additional information that you want. Any questions on Rave Alert before I continue to the next software suite in Rave Link? Okay, great. So Rave Link is our data sharing tool, situational awareness, extended dispatch workflow management. Some people kind of call it a CAD to CAD solution, but there's additional tools that are added to it. So one of the components that we have within the tool is a proximity alert. So this tool connects to any disparate CAD. You do not need to have a Motorola CAD. In this example that we'll give, we will say that there was an incident in a school. We are able to geofence the school. And then when a call for service is created within that geofence, we can automate and send out a notification to predetermined personnel so that they're aware of it without having to take the resource of a person, which is obviously at a premium. So for example, if there was a person with a firearm walking within a 1 mile radius of a school and your call taker entered a subject with a gun type call type, if that fell within that jurisdiction and you previously had a rules engine set up to say notify the SRO, the principal, anybody within the school to go into lockdown, we would leverage Rave Alert to send that out to the school. So instead of having to actually call into the school, hopefully reaching a secretary or somebody else, we can automate that process. Once again, dispatchers don't need to learn any type of new interface. This is done on the back end via a rules engine. So they're just doing their day-to-day tasks. Nothing changes in your workflow. We're just sending out the notifications as you've predetermined within the platform. We also include SOPs that can be uploaded into the system to make sure that if there is a complex incident, an active shooter, or something that is not your run-of-the-mill type of call, that those SOPs are readily available for your staff so that they're following your policies and procedures to a T. Getting the right information to people and then reducing errors by setting up automation instead of having to take people to do it. Obviously, in large-scale chaos incidents, your employees are going to be incredibly busy. We want to take some of that burden off their shoulders. Here's the data processing CAD to CAD sharing. You can see in this screen the different coloration of 2 different jurisdictions that are side by side. You can share critical incidents, calls for service, officer location information via MDT or other devices. And it just kind of gives you that additional transparency so that you can take a more proactive approach instead of a reactive approach when looking at situational awareness in cross-jurisdictional agencies. So hopefully this can help you increase kind of that officer safety and that knowledge base, not needing to come across a radio or maybe make a phone call to a partnering jurisdiction. They can see it. There's communication between the platform where you can talk about anything that needs to be done. If you need additional resources for, say, a large-scale fire that's right across the border, you can bring additional engines or whatever else you need for that type of a situation. And then going back to just what kind of some of those workflows look like, this is connected to your CAD, ingests CAD data, ANI, ALI, that type of information. We create the rule engine in Link, things like the incident type or nature code. We have the proximity alerting, which I previously talked about, or if a certain number of units or specific units, like a SWAT unit, were to be set up, then that's something that we can automatically start those workflows for. And in some examples that are given on this slide, you can notify a PIO so that they can start to proactively engage the media, increase those workflows, and then there is the ability to publish this data externally to the stakeholders, whether that's your command staff or maybe city political personnel that would like to know some of the information on how this is being used. Any questions on the Rave Link data sharing CAD to CAD platform? Okay, then we'll move forward into our public safety app known as App Armor. Here's some examples of what it looks like on the right. You can see this University of Chicago. We have a heavy presence in the higher ed landscape, but it is a custom branded safety application owned and operated by your agency. This will not have Motorola or Rave brand anywhere on it. It is owned by your agency and it'll look accordingly. It has some significantly more powerful features where we can also set up geofencing and location services. You can upload your online reporting to this if you're trying to kind of kick some of the calls that are coming into your 911 center and alleviate some of the burden off of your people. You can schedule information to reporting tips. It's pretty flexible in any type of information that you would want to communicate out to the public. Chicago has this app as a city. They like to post, since they're very heavy for sports teams. They post information on, Chicago's Cubs games, and if there's a detour or parking information that needs to be known. It's just a way to communicate more directly and effectively with your citizens. This also has integration back to the Rave Alert platform. If a mass notification is sent out, one of the modalities that you can select is App Armor, and any citizen that has the app uploaded or is within the geofence will receive the notification via the app if the cell phone was not selected as a mode of transportation. For some additional examples, Sheriff's Office, what the DDME is, I believe it's one of the Caribbean islands. I don't remember exactly which one, but you can kind of see some different examples of how those agencies use it. There is a banner ticker taper that comes across the top. As you can see, there's some type of a hurricane notification that's taking place out in the Caribbean, so they were wanting that to be informed by the citizen. Completely scalable on the size of the deployment. We've done this for small agencies. We've done this for statewide solutions. So there's some different options and availability. Once again, public safety app, trying to reduce the inbound call volume. If there is information you can get to your citizens, obviously when citizens don't know who to call, they probably fall back on calling police or 911, which we want to try to alleviate them doing. Here's just a success story. You can go ahead and read through it directly, but I'll just focus more on the app specifically. Some of the things that they put on here was coronavirus information. This was in the heart of COVID-19. They also had some road conditions. It looked like they had inclement weather to give the citizens information on maybe detours or other paths they wanted to take. If there was a road closure, the ability to call 911 through the emergency contact, and then some report of storm damage. Once again, it looked like there was a storm that was going on in this local jurisdiction. And then tying this into the last piece of software that they're going to talk about, which is our public safety app, which can also be integrated into App Armor. You can see the workflow here of how they're selecting through the app into other pages. And then the Rave Panic button is an option, which is shown on the far right. Before getting into our panic button solution, are there any questions on App Armor? Okay, great. Okay, moving forward. So the panic button, like I said, is typically seen in the K through 12 school environment. This came about after the Sandy Hook shooting. We actually met with the group and tried to find some of the challenges that they had when that incident took place. One of the things that they talked about was just the need to have a simple solution that anybody could use if there were to be some type of an incident within a soft target, or in this case, a school. So there's only 5 buttons: active assailant or active shooter that's taking place at the facility, if there's a fire, if you need medical, police, or just generically 911. This opens up your 911 auto dialer, which gives you direct access for bilateral communication with the PSAP, which is a very huge talking point, as opposed to having, say, a key fob or a pendant, which we do also offer. That's not going to give you any additional information other than telling the PSAP that there's some type of an emergency that's going on within the facility. So this will give you that direct communication with the PSAP so that the 911 operator can ask additional questions on the type of incident. But what it's doing is giving us a significantly larger amount of data. So we can upload floor plans to the school. We'll have all the contact information for teachers or any other personnel. And then we can have the conversations with the teacher when they're on the phone about what's happening. Additional questions if there were an active shooter, say asking them for description of the suspect or what classroom the suspect is in. And that can be done via voice or via text. So notifying staff with a single touch, we talked about the ease of use and the functionality, trying to get first responders to the scene faster. Once the panic button, any of those apps are pressed, then that will come up in the PSAP via a multitude of different dashboards that we can implement. Rave has a dashboard and map solution that you can use, or you can use our Command Central Aware platform if you're familiar with that. But the PSAP will know about the incident with all the additional data before the 911 call ever reaches the agency. So we'll be more able to proactively respond and get first responders on scene quicker with additional information than if they were just to call 911. There's also the ability for a staff assist is what we call that. So you can do a polling out to the teachers to see if they need any type of additional assistance or what the status is. It only comes in 3 different options, once again, trying to make it easy to use in a crisis situation. So stating that that teacher specifically needs help, they're safe but injured, or that they're okay. And then you can notify first responders to focus on that classroom or the location of the teacher who is potentially needing additional assistance or has somebody who is injured. We can send EMS to that location before focusing on another area within the school that the students and the teachers are okay. At the bottom of the screen is kind of difficult to see, but there's the 3 heads in the tool that says staff assist. So that's the ability for teachers and employees to speak back and forth between each other without needing any type of public safety assistance. So for example, if a student was out on the playground and fell and didn't necessarily need EMTs to respond, but maybe the school nurse, then the teacher could utilize the staff assist button to contact the school nurse directly, asking for her assistance without opening a 911 call or having first responders respond code 3 to a school that didn't actually have a police incident or a fire incident that needed a medical response to. So that is the 5 pieces of software that is housed within the Rave software suite over at Motorola. Are there any questions about any of the tools that we discussed here? Okay, if there's no questions, I can hand it back to Jennifer or Lane if you'd like to speak something.
Yeah, I think the only thing I'd like to say is, if there's any interest in any of these pieces and you want to hear more, or you think others in your agency might want to hear more, please reach out to myself or Travis, and we can make that happen. Appreciate your time.
It's quite the suite of solutions, and this is not normally a quiet group. So I'll just prompt again and say, if there are any questions out there, don't be afraid to raise your hand and ask. There we go. Go ahead, Jeff.
I'd just like to say that, our authority has been heavily invested in Rave for many years. We started as a charter member way back when Smart 911 first came out, and now we're utilizing the entire suite with the exception of panic button, and we'd like to try and get dialogue going with the schools with regard to that. So I just want to say my compliments to Rave. They've always been a fantastic vendor and very responsive, and it's been a great relationship. So thanks, Travis.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate the compliment.
Thanks, Jeff. I was also impressed with how much of your solution is automated and in the background, so it takes the onus off of the dispatchers who are already busy. Anybody else with questions or comments?
I'll also mention that JeffCom utilizes the App Armor app. It's available in both Google Play and the Apple App Store. If anybody wants to download and take a look, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think JeffCom had a really great story from this last 4th of July where they uploaded tools to notify the citizens of other ways to report fireworks.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jeff. Sorry.
It was great. It really helped out a lot. Gave people a way of doing that.
I think the data that we saw was it removed almost 3,000 911 calls off of the agency over that weekend because they were able to upload and report it via the tool. So if you just go to your Google store or the Apple store, you can download the JeffCom app. It's a very nice app. See some of the features and functionality that they thought were important in utilizing it. I'll give you a little example if that's something that you want to look at.
And mobile reach is also an incredible feature. It gives us access to a huge amount of the populace that has not elected to opt in when doing notifications. It's incredible.
Yeah, I'll expand on that a little bit. So one of the biggest challenges we see in the mass notification environment is getting your citizens to opt in. Even if you have excellent PR team and are pushing public communication, It still is very challenging. We typically only see about 5 to 10% of the population of the jurisdiction that opts in voluntarily. What Mobile Reach does is we procure that data from the FCC and we auto upload all the cell phones within your jurisdiction. Now, there's some regulations that don't allow us to get 100% of the cell phones. Things like kids under the age of 18 cannot be included. There's some other regulation examples that the FCC has, but we typically see about 50 to 75% of the population of your jurisdiction get opted in. They still do have the ability to opt out if it's a notification that they don't want, but I think most people think that it's an iPause alert and it's coming through no matter what. So they typically don't do that. You get a lot of engagement from your citizens, and that data dump is done almost instantaneously.
Go ahead, Matt.
The comment about obtaining those records, phone records from the FCC, has me curious how it is that the FCC is obtaining all of our cell phone records, so to speak.
I'm sure they probably get them from the mobile providers. It's I don't know, to be honest with you. But it's been vetted. It's not illegal or anything like that. We just upload the data as it's given to us from the FCC.
Copy that. Thanks.
And I know our community in Colorado is very proactive about notifications, especially as fire season starts to show up on the calendar. And we've all been watching what's been happening in California. So I would imagine that a lot of agencies in Colorado are looking at ways to proactively get those notifications out, both in non-emergent and emergent times. So thank you very much for highlighting that.
And Jennifer, this is Jeff again. I hate to take over the conversation here, but I'll mention a couple other things that we've got going. Is we've provided funding for JeffCom to have a dedicated employee, Kevin Garcia, who's now is the ENS coordinator. And so it's Kevin's job to do all things Lookout Alert and Rave centric, and also dealing with iPause notifications and what have you. So having a dedicated employee to look at all that and to look at promoting opt-in. We've been working with the city of Lakewood recently. They're going to decommission their warning siren system the end of 2025. And so we're doing a big push to get people to opt in light of that. And Rave has already decommissioned their warning siren system. So throughout our authorities response area, we're making a big push to get everybody to opt in.
That's great. Go ahead.
I will add that this is all cloud-based software. So the price points are incredibly low. This isn't going to be like a CAD implementation that is in the millions, if not tens of millions, to contract with. There is no hardware associated with any of these tools. So it keeps those price points very attractive to any of the customers. Additionally, working with the Colorado State Legislature, have a meeting with the speaker here in a week or two. There are current federal grants available that we see opportunity with both AppArmor and Panic Button that are on the streets right now. So if you are interested in either one of those tools, there is some federal grant money that is available, and I'd be more than happy to meet with any of you to discuss that if it's a product that you're interested in.
And I'll also say that the reliability has been incredible. You know, our previous vendor, we had just recurring chronic issues with what we called the circle of death. We'd do a launch and things would stall out and they could never figure out what was causing it. And we haven't had any of those issues at all with the Rave platform.
I spoke about, how the ease of use of all of our platforms. That's one of the really big things that we're noticed by. But the other one is the customer service. And so thank you for speaking on that, Jeff. We boast a 99% retention rate. So once we have customers, they are quite pleased with the product line. And we typically see renewals that last quite a while. So.
That's
okay.
fabulous.
I'll stop being the shell.
Thanks. Appreciate
Thanks
the vote of
for sharing,
confidence.
Jeff. Does anybody else have any questions or thoughts? Oh, Alex, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just curious if, like the Rave Alert as a reverse 911 thing, if that's only would be utilized in the PSAP, or if you have like your emergency management offices or other places that can use it.
Yeah, so we contract mainly with PSAPs and emergency management offices for the Rave Alert platform. It's just based on the policies that are set up within the jurisdiction that you support. We can also create domains so that they're separate from each other if there is a reason that the emergency manager would not want to be tied into the PSAP. Or if it's, say, a county emergency manager versus a city PSAP, then we can give them different domains as well. Or we can just change the administrative privileges to have that information sent out. It's completely flexible based on however you want it to be set up and who you want to have access to the platform.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great questions, you guys. Keep them coming. All right. Well, thank you so much, Lane and Travis, for being here and for sharing that information. And again, thank you so much for your support of the 911 community here in Colorado. We really appreciate it.
Of course.
Thank you very much.
Jennifer.
Yep. And do you have a slide for contact information that you want to leave us with?
I can send out an email to you or to the group if it's available via the calendar invite, and have contact information as well as some one-pagers on some of the software that we discussed so that the agencies have them to review.
Sure. And I will, as always, put this on our YouTube channel so that those who weren't able to join us today can go back and watch as well. So with that, I hope everybody has a fabulous afternoon, and thanks again so much for being with us today.
Thank you, everybody.